What is going on, everybody? Sorry for the delay. As Process said, I was in the back putting on makeup for this. I had to get dolled up. Um, Before I get to my guest, I have had requests for t-shirts. So in the description, I have a link for t-shirts if anybody's interested. Uh, Head on over there after the show if you're interested and pick you up a couple t-shirts. That's the designs I got out right now. But y'all are not here for that, nor are you here for me. You are here for my awesome guest who can do more than a lot of people on YouTube, a whole lot more. And I kind of bumped into her on Instagram and became a fan, did a little pushing and nagging. And, finally she broke, had to get her on YouTube. So I am going to bring on my guest tonight. What is up, Indigo.moto?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Look, you're already cracking up. I told you this was going to be fun.
Oh, I hope so.
Oh, it will be. So before, good Lord, these comments are blowing up right now. Um, Amateur Moose, he's my biggest troll. He's not looking to buy t-shirts. He just had to let everybody know. Thanks everybody for coming in. As promised, we have Indigo.moto, and I want to start from the very beginning. How did you get into motorcycles?
Oh, I grew up around motorcycles. My dad's a biker. My mom used to ride. My grandmother used to ride. So I've actually just always been around motorcycles. I actually didn't think anything special of them until probably the last 10 years, where I've used it as more of a, escape instead of just basic transportation. Yeah, so I've kind of just been around them almost all my life.
So out of your family that rode, who was the biggest influence?
Oh, definitely my dad. I'm my father's daughter, 100%.
So did you get all your skills from your dad?
I think I got a lot of things from my dad. I think like him, and he's definitely been a major influence. He had 3 daughters, and I think he always wanted a son, so kind of stepped up to the plate, I guess. So I grew up riding with him, and I mean he had a Road King when I was 16, but at 100 pounds and 16, it sounded fine, and it worked out.
So being that kind of like me, it was in your DNA. When you decided to actually get your own and start riding, how old were you then?
So I had only kind of ridden when I was a teenager. Not a very, I mean, I would ride my dad's Road King, but that's not like, that wasn't mine. So it was only to and from every once in a while, and that doesn't really count. And then when I was 16, the bike that I had was not reliable. So that lasted about a second. So I don't think, I mean, when I was a teen and a little bit older didn't count. And I took almost an 8-year break in motorcycling because I was in school and I had a kid. So I actually didn't get back even till riding until officially, I didn't even get my license until 2012. But I also didn't know that I needed a license because it was so part of my life that I just had no idea. Florida, you needed a motorcycle license.
Yeah, so, apparently Alabama, I've learned, if you have a driver's license, you can ride a motorcycle without a motorcycle endorsement. So
yeah,
I guess it differs between state to state. Tennessee, you have to have one. So
yeah, and my parents, they were kind of grandfathered in, so they didn't really even think about that as well. So I guess I just never got the memo until 2012, after having my son and wanting to actually get back into riding and really learning again. So yeah, that was different.
So what was your first bike?
I had a Honda Rebel 250 for a month.
A month?
Yeah, it was not reliable in any way, shape, or form. So I sold it and bought a Suzuki Samurai because, I thought that was cool.
I hear my phone going off. So you get back into motorcycling,
Yeah.
and then when did you decide to make the jump to start doing social media stuff?
2020. 2020 was a weird year, I think, for everybody. And I kind of just was trying to move out of my comfort zone. And I guess it was just part of the experience. I was starting to take over more in our Iron Lilies network. And now that I run the whole thing, it's a little bit different too. But I didn't really have any kind of social media presence before that. And it was just really to push myself out of a comfort zone and try something new. I mean, I'm naturally incredibly introverted. Now, not as much. I'm learning to push myself out. And that was just one of the stepping stones into, well, I'm running a group, and I probably should have some kind of something behind it instead of like an unknown face. But it did take me about a year to even be like, oh, I run a group too. So
Yeah, I get what you're saying, because when I started, if you watch my very first video, I'm like a deer in headlights. I was
me right now.
uncomfortable. And I'm nah, you're doing great. You're gonna get even better at it, especially if you do more lives. So don't sweat that too much. So let's before we go on to Instagram, let me do some shout outs, because we have a lot of people in the side chat right now. Let me
Okay.
We got Evil Rig, XAM Biker, Doc Harley, Gloria Dewey, Mr. HD Lowrider, uh, Ray's Moto Life, Process. Whew, good lord, this list is getting kind of big tonight. DDK, Fat Glide 96, Hell's on Two Wheels, Gliding on Twos, Amateur Moose. So we have a pretty good audience. And if y'all have not checked her stuff out after the show, run over to Instagram and on YouTube and you'll give her some follows and subscribes and thumbs up and watch her videos, because they are really, really good. So y'all start thinking about what questions y'all want to ask, and I'm gonna flag them later in the show. I'm gonna let the audience ask you some questions too. So
Okay.
you started Instagram,
Mhm.
and that's where I kind of noticed you. You just popped up on my feed one day, and I'm like, what in the heck is this? And I started watching. I was like, oh yeah, she definitely needs to be on YouTube, because this is the kind of things that you'll see on her Instagram and more. And there's no audio on this because I think the audio got taken off the actual.
I think that was actually before it was a reel. I think that was just a video. It might have been.
Oh,
Yeah, because
yeah.
they change stuff.
So I know that guys get threatened by this, and I don't see what the big deal is. I think women are hotter if they know how to work on their own stuff. But where did you learn to do all the mechanic stuff? Did you go to a school or somebody teach you?
I grew up as the son my father never had.
Oh,
Yeah, my family has a ranch, and my dad's a welder. So I just kind of grew up doing a lot of these things. I didn't realize it was kind of any different to work on your own vehicles. Like now growing up, I realized that that's not necessarily the normal. Many people just take their car to the mechanic instead of trying to tinker
yeah.
around with it themselves. But I kind of just grew up in a lifestyle that it was you try to fix it yourself first. So I'm not trained. I don't know the proper terms for so many things, and I make it up as I go. I'm very thankful for YouTube for when I do start screwing things up. Like sometimes there's somebody that knows what they're doing, so I can go find their videos. Like my first video on YouTube happens to be like an oil change one, because I'm like, I can do that. I can share my little bit of knowledge. But yeah, I just grew up kind of learning, and I still do that. I guess I would rather try to figure it out than try to pay somebody to do it first.
Yeah, I kind of don't want to jump too far ahead, but your oil change video, when I found you on Instagram, I kind of looked over there to see if you was on YouTube
Yeah,
also.
that's a terrible
And
video.
I had seen that video, and it was right around the time that I had dry rot in my rubber hose going to my drain from my oil tank.
Mm-hmm.
And I started looking at just oil change videos, because I was going to do a 3-hole oil change anyways. And I'm like, wow, a lot of these guys have no clue what they're doing. Reusing O-rings, didn't put any oil in the oil filter or even lube the rubber gasket.
Mhm.
I'm like, yeah, this ain't right. And I was gonna go and do a video on it. And I seen yours. I'm like, well, I'm not gonna do a video now. It's out here. So good job on that. That was impressive, seeing a bunch of people that couldn't do it, and then yours is right there where you was doing it right in my book and a lot of mechanics books as well.
Mhm.
So here goes some more stuff, more little clips I want to show.
Oh dear, that's not good. I feel the need to say the F word now.
I mean, the puddle looked fun. It was not fun. Well, it was fun. Okay, yeah, this was post Hurricane Ian, and I decided to go ride around because why not? And I didn't realize that road that I went down, because I've been down that road, I thought before, but maybe not enough to pay attention that there's a huge dip. And in that huge dip was significantly more water than I thought it was. So she turned into a submarine for a couple moments, which didn't work out. So, and I'm
you have to push it back home?
Yeah, it's about 2 miles from the house, and it did have to get pushed back home because I could have gone back. I probably did go get my truck because I do actually drive a vehicle, like a real one. And I probably could have put it in the back of the truck, but it was easier to walk sopping wet home.
So that one is currently torn down, getting rebuilt.
That's in parts all over my garage. It's terrible.
Yeah, because I seen that you had the jugs off, and I don't know how far you was going with that. You didn't split the cases or nothing, did you?
Everything. Okay, so I do need to have it rebored out because that's an older bike anyway, and I'm sure she needed some attention more than I was giving her anyway. So I'm actually not really sure what else I'm going to do with it. I might actually be taking it apart more than it is right now. But the engine, yeah, I definitely need to have that redone, and I think she was going to look different when I put her back together now too. I'm not sure. I got a different tank, and I kind of been wanting to make it like ignorant purple sparkles. So
like a purple metallic flake.
Yeah, something really stupid, like with lots of stuff. So my paint guy, Dan, I just keep wanting to give him more stuff to make really awesome purple for me. And like the leopard print that's on it, I love it dearly. And because leopard print is definitely something that also speaks to me besides apparently purple motorcycles. But it feels so weird having like purple and purple flames and then leopard print. So I might have to sparkle purple her up. So we'll see. We'll see.
Is it going to be one of those unveils at Bike Week?
I don't think so, because I really am impatient, and generally there's at least snidbits, because I even tried with the purple flames on the Fat Boy. Like I kept trying for so long to like grayscale any of the pictures and stuff from it, and then I finally got to a point where I was like, fuck it, it's fine.
It's good enough.
Yeah. Y'all can see it's purple flames now. We're not shocked.
So now that let's see. That one, I think it was. I think. Let me see. I think
of all trades is a master of none, but still always better than a master of one is actually the complete quote. There's a saying.
See, that little reel there shows there's way more to indigo.moto than just running motorcycles through deep water pits.
I mean, most of my life does revolve back around motorcycling. It does seem to be a really big part of my life, whether I like it or not at this point. But I do have a little other things that I like.
So back to the Instagram section. A lot of your reels are really well done. And one in particular cracked me up. I woke up in a bad mood, hurting, and pick up my phone, and this was the first one that popped up.
I got 3 looks, and that's it. You got a homeless man, a 12-year-old boy, and a hooker.
So that one cracked me up. Maybe gave me a better day, What do you do to create a reel? Do you kind of like have something envisioned, or you hear something and then be like, "Oh, I got footage," or how you
Okay,
go
so
about that?
that's why YouTube's been so hard for me, because I don't plan in advance. I just happen to have like a million photos and videos on my phone, because if I do remember to take photos, because that's the two parts of me, it's either I'm too in the moment and I forget to take anything, and then I'll go a couple days in an event and be like, I took one photo and it's of a squirrel on the sidewalk and that's it. Or I take like 150 videos on an event that I was at for 4 hours the other day, and I have just so much. So I have so much on my phone, and then some of these audio clips, they're just too funny, and I have to like, oh, my head will put it together, and I have to go searching back over the millions and millions of things that I have, and then I put it together. It's not a super creative process. It's really just like, oh yeah, that's right, I took a photo there, and that fits in, and then like that's just how it goes. It's not super in depth, but that's why YouTube's so hard for me, because you have to plan. And while I'm super type A planner in so many parts of my life, it's never been in the creative side of me, like to plan things out. It's normally whatever flows and feels good. So it's a very different mindset.
Yeah, because I've seen all your Instagram stuff, and I'm like, she's a natural.
Oh yeah, I don't know about that, but
And well, I honestly feel like you are. I mean, I could be
thanks.
wrong. I'm sure there's people in the side that agrees. Um, I kind of slipped off of this. Wow, I messed up big time. I should have been paying a little bit more to the side chat to flag some stuff.
I don't know how you pay attention to the side chat and this. Like, I don't have the brain cells to do both. So I see it moving, but I'm like, I can't watch this. So sorry about that.
Well, I have an intern named Beatrice, but she has the holidays off.
Ah,
So I'm kind of flying solo, and it gets overwhelming for somebody that's actually hosting the show. I mean, you gotta try to stay on everything.
mhm.
So I think what I'm gonna do right now, I got some stuff flagged here because I'm also I'm multitasking here. Um, process. What made you choose Harley Davidson?
Oh, I don't know if I chose Harley Davidson, except because I did grow up around them. Now, I did also have a Honda Shadow at one point, and cost comes into play there, because I mean, I had barely had my kid at the time, and cost was really important. And then I moved into Harleys, I think, just slowly but surely. And I've always liked Harleys. As I said, my dad's Road King was like the pinnacle of Harley Davidsons as far as I was concerned when I was younger. Now he has a Road Glide and I have a Road Glide. So maybe I just really am my father's daughter. But I just have always loved Harleys. But the funny thing is actually I'm not really a Harley girl, if that makes any sense. Like, I do actually love other motorcycles, and I would love an Indian Pursuit. Like, that in purple would be amazing, but I don't have 40K. So
Mm.
it's not going to happen anytime soon. And I would love an adventure bike, but I'm 5'3", so I'm struggling there. So as much as I definitely love my Harleys, and they fit a lot of the needs, hence me having also so many of them, I don't know if I'm directly a Harley girl. So
Just wait till you meet me because I'm 6'5".
okay, then yeah, you're definitely a lot taller than me.
Yeah, I can see over the crowd no matter where I'm at.
Yeah.
We got Mr. HD Lowrider. Purple metal flake would look amazing.
See, I think so. And I would love
agree.
some fun, crazy designs. I don't know. I'm going to give it to him and be like, take this off and figure it out.
Maybe a little charcoal and
Yeah.
black in there too would look
Yeah.
good.
Get wild.
Doc Harley, I have a lift in my OR. She is hired if she wants a job. He's offering you a job to work on bikes.
It's funny because I've thought about that, because there's one of the dealers over here. He saw my video of when I did a field oil change in Washington State after one of my parts of my trip, And he's like, if she can do an oil change in the field, like she can come work for me and just do oil changes all day. It's like, I got one skill. Let me just keep doing them repetitive.
Yeah, oil changes, they're pretty
There's just
pretty
easy enough. I do enough.
Yeah. You got how many bikes?
There's like 4.
Yeah.
But I also just put on a lot of miles. I mean, it's just too many miles.
We're gonna get to that here in a couple minutes.
Okay. Okay.
Glide on Twos wants to know: are you creeped out by folks walking up to you to get a picture?
I don't know if creeped out's the right word. I think I'm more taken back when I get recognized in public still. I've had a couple moments where I'm still struggling with an Instagram name and my first name. Because when people walking up to me and they, oh, you're indigo.moto, instead of being, oh, Tiffany, like that's different to me. So I'm still actually very struggling with that. I don't think I've had but like a couple people ask for photos, but they're people that I've already like kind of talked to. But I don't know if creeped out's the right word. So we'll get to that when maybe it happens like that, I guess.
I mean, I've had that experience one time on the Run to the Hills 2 event, traveling tall through. We was in Dill's Gap and I'd parked the bike, ran inside to get a couple t-shirts and came back out and had to move the bike. And dude saw me from across the parking lot come running up. I was like, oh, I was like, dude, I only got like 50 subs. I mean, come on now.
Yeah. Like, I feel like it's just like, it takes me back a little bit. Like, okay. Like people are like, oh, I follow you on Instagram. And my first response is like, okay, don't like, I don't know what to say to that still. Like I'm not there, if that makes sense.
Thank you. That's awesome. That's usually the sense.
That would be the natural thing, but I'm just not. Yeah, I'm working on that. Like it's a natural response for most people to be thank you. That's a good thing. But I'm like, oh, don't look at me. And that seems counterintuitive to the situation.
Okay, so actually, I think I'm gonna go with this one. Kelpfire says her sporty's purple haze.
Yes. Oh, I want to see it. That's awesome.
Okay, Gliding on Twos asked that question, and then Process asked, "Is she an angel? Because she looks like she fell from the heaven."
No, call me Lucy. I'm from hell.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have fun down there. You run into us, you're gonna be like, "What the heck?" So I'm gonna shoot over this. Ghost Eagle, what do you got into your motorcycles?
What do I got into it? As in, I don't know if I understand the question.
What got you into motorcycles?
Oh, yeah,
I said that wrong.
Yeah, no, just life. I guess I fell into it. I don't know. Like I hate being like I didn't get into it like a lot of people do. People are like, oh, I want freedom and I want to go like do things. I'm like, I need to get from point A to point B, and that's got good miles per gallon. So that's where it started. Like I didn't think of anything special of motorcycles because I grew up around it so casually.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. Process says my bike's name's Lucy.
Oh, damn. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I don't name my bikes. I don't know how that's how casual motorcycling was for me. I've never really even named my bikes.
Well, mine has a name, but you know, that depending on if you ask me or my girlfriend, she's like, no, it ain't. But awesome. I named it. It haunted me for a while before I bought it, almost a month. And the hard candy black and gold paint reminded me of a stripper that I had seen before, and her name was Jasmine, and it kind of stuck.
Okay.
So
I like it though. It's a good name.
Yeah, it's unique. How many other bikes you going to see named Jasmine?
And none that will be as awesome.
No, I love my paint job. It gets made fun of because Hale says it's a bass boat paint job, but
that's
jealous
funny.
mine actually runs. Fat Glide, is there a bike that you had previously and wish you still had?
Yeah, actually, I'm kind of getting a little sentimental about. I had a cafe racer style bike. I had a 78 Honda CB400. That was purple, of course, too. But there was something about because it goes back to I'm 5'3". I could ride that bike, but it was really just not easy to back it up. Being such a smaller bike, I didn't really take it a lot of places except maybe to Ace or around town. So I really didn't think I loved it, and then I don't have it, and now I miss it. So a little bit.
Ooh, I see a really good question. This is one, ooh, excuse me, that I did not think of. So busted knuckles. Thank you very
Okay.
much, because this is a really good question.
Oh, okay. That is a good question. Okay, so people always like your hair matches your bike. Well, that's backwards. The hair's been purple for like 20 years. Okay, but the color of the hair dye is called indigo. So I went with the actual color of my hair dye, and then my motorcycles seem to follow suit. So.
Sweet. That was a really good question, Busted.
Yeah, that was a great.
I didn't even think
and
about
nobody
asking
asked that,
one.
so that's really good.
Yeah. Only on the Tweedle show will you find out
Good.
why indigo.moto is called indigo.moto. So, oh Lord, so many questions. It's bad because you prep out, you kind of like, kind of script everything out how you want it to go in your questions, and then you just put all that effort into it, and you're like, you know what, I ain't feeling it. Throw it. Yeah, you want it organic and fun. So I know that a little birdie, after they kind of stumbled upon you and hit you up and pestered the shit out of you until you started actually doing more YouTube.
Yes.
Are you glad you did YouTube? Are you pissed off at that little birdie? You're not going to shoot him when you see him, are you?
No, I think I'm actually really happy with the YouTube thing. I'm still apprehensive, I guess, about some of it. Like the whole even seeing myself on a screen right now. I know that seems crazy because I take photos, but those photos are all taken by me, myself, and I pretty much. So I'm still trying to figure out seeing myself on camera, like actually moving. It's a little weird. But I'm getting more comfortable doing it. But the thing is I feel like I have goals when it comes to YouTube. Instagram, I never set out with a goal besides trying to get out of my shell a little bit and finding just a little bit more of a way to help my lilies. And I don't know, just, it wasn't the same with YouTube. I definitely have much more of a goal set in mind. And I don't know. I think I'm actually really excited about this next year. And I did tell myself I was going to do 1 year of attempting YouTube. And if it sucked, and then I just wasn't going to do it. So I've committed to a year.
Well,
yeah.
Let's just look at something here. You're at 104 subs, so your YouTube you shouldn't even have to worry about, because I told you, you got the stuff, you got the content. You're gonna skyrocket. Just when you hit that plateau up there, the clouds, throw some crumbs down for me.
Start.
So Kelpfire wants to know, what are your moto meetup plans for 2023?
Oh, Jesus. So I'm still trying to figure out all the plans, because the problem is now I can go across the country by myself. So I look at a way bigger variety. Like for so many years, all I did was stay in the state of Florida. And then for quite a few years, I just stayed in the Southeast. And now I feel like the whole world is opened up for me. So I have a couple places I definitely want to do. Laconia's on my list for sure. And I want to do, there's one in Tennessee, that Tennessee Motorcycle Music Revival something. I don't know. I can't even think what the order it's called in.
Loretta Lynn's.
That one.
Yeah.
That I want to do that one, because I put that on my list a couple times and I just haven't gotten around to it. And I kind of think I want to go back to Oklahoma for Adam Sandoval's, the Stubborn American one. Sounds really fun. But then there's so many things I want to do beyond that. And I haven't hit the state of Arizona. So maybe Arizona Bike Week. I don't know. See how I'm like really all over the place with this. Try to have plans for 2023. I don't know. Because I would like to go to Alaska, but I don't think I'm ready for that. So that's probably 2024. Then there's just so many things. I really don't even know yet.
Wow.
Yeah.
There is another one in Tennessee next year, right?
Which one?
In
I mean,
September.
there's so many things in Tennessee. Which one?
Well, it's in September. Tram is Tennessee riding meetup.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Send me the
I send you
info.
I send you
Yeah.
details on
Send
it.
me the info. I'll see
I'm
what
trying to get the
happens.
group rates and all that crap sorted
Okay.
out so I can
Okay.
put all that information out. But yeah, that one's gonna be fun. We got bucket list ride, we got plateau ride,
I love
and
it.
then maps for people who don't want to do either. They can just go
Yeah.
out and venture out on their own.
Yeah, like solo
So-
riders like me normally.
I feel you. I do a lot of solo riding
Yeah.
myself.
I'm just naturally a solo one.
Busted Knuckles. Maybe I missed it, but where is she from?
Oh, I'm Florida born and raised. I'm in Orlando.
Okay. I didn't know how much you wanted out. That's why I didn't say.
That's fine. Orlando's massive. There's 300,000 of us. Come find me, right? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I've been down there, and you have to be, pretty fast to try to look in somebody's window on the interstate. So
Yeah.
Forgotten Angels camp out
Yes.
in March. You going to it?
Yeah, I think so. I really, really liked the Forgotten Angels camp out last October. Actually, that's where one of the other pushed me into YouTube events, I guess. But I do think I have the day off for that. And if not, it's not very far. It's only like 2 hours. So I can probably even ride back and forth if I can't get like the actual time that I need to off. But I'll be there for sure. At least one of the days, but probably all three. So.
There is so much stuff in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of. I mean, for me, for instance, we just had snow. It just completely melted away today.
Yeah.
And it got up to 54, and I could have went out riding, but I just trying to get over this cold and everything. I'm like, I better not. So, how much stuff is actually going on there? I'm like, do you have any downtime from riding?
No, not really. I mean, okay, so realistically, we actually don't have as many events in July and August. Rightfully so, it is literally hot as hell here. So while it seems like we don't really have downtime, that's kind of it, if anything, because anything past like 10 a.m., you're going to be sweating and dying. And it just gets to a point where you feel like you're melting. And I know other states get hot, but it's not like Florida hot. We have the humidity down here that when you're sitting at a stoplight, the air around you, it takes your breath away. So August and July, a lot of people don't ride nearly as much, or they're complaining just like you guys would complain about maybe the cold too. So I guess we don't necessarily have a downtime because I'll ride all year. But like even January, we have Gibtown Bike Fest the first weekend of January, like 6th, 7th, and 8th. And I mean, that's January. So we don't really have downtime the same way as other states. And it's funny that you say that. Actually, side little story. I'm from Florida. I've rode in Florida my entire life. It wasn't until this last February when my Iron Lilies Minnesota girls came down to ride with us in February that I realized other states had riding seasons. I had no clue. Like it just didn't dawn on me that they had to put their bikes up for the winter. Because I've never done that. I've always rode all year round. So it was very interesting that I just totally naive.
Yeah, I had to put mine to bed last year. Well, actually, it was this year, January.
Yeah.
So I got to ride all last year, all the way through December, through Christmas. But this year, that Arctic blast screwed everything up.
Yeah. I mean, it was cold down here. I was freezing to death myself. I don't know how you guys do it.
Yeah, it was like 4 degrees for the.
I don't even know what that feels like. I don't want to know what that feels like.
The opposite of y'all's hot.
Okay.
It was really, really, really miserable. I didn't go outside very much, and my heater did not stop.
Oh my God.
So yeah, we have riding seasons, unfortunately, and I know Bike Week is March 3rd.
Yeah, it's always like the first like 2 weekends in March or so.
Yeah, so I got to fight the cold from here to Florida.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping when I went down in October, I don't know, I was probably 50 miles from Chattanooga and it warmed up really good. And I was like, ooh, I ain't cold no more. On the way back, though, as soon as I got to like I-10, it was cold. I was freezing the whole way back home doing 85 and 100 when I hit the Tennessee line. I'm like, this sucks. Let's get there.
Well, have you been down to Bike Week in March yet?
I've not been to the Bike Week. Went to
Okay.
I went to Myrtle Beach Bike Week
Okay.
last year,
Okay.
or this year actually,
Yeah.
and Biketoberfest.
Okay. Well, it's funny because March here is so weird because it's always one weekend I'm going to be wearing a tank top, and the other weekend I'm wearing everything in my closet because it's freezing. And you never know which weekend's going to be which because our weather in March is just so weird that there's always going to be one and the other. Because I really had like a 90-degree day and a 40-degree day, and that was the 2 weekends.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So good luck.
Yeah, it was showing it was going to be like 70 for the high.
Yeah.
On the way down, so
We'll see. We'll see how it
but
goes.
that's all tentative because you know how weather is. It's going to change.
Mhm.
So, can you mentioned a goal for YouTube.
Okay. Yeah.
Can you tell us what your goal is?
Well, okay, so I have 2 goals. The first one is really superficially for me. I really like documenting life in general. Like I've always been the person with a camera in my hand, and I love to just take candid photos and life of everything else. Like I've always been one to scrapbook and just always have these things. So now this is just the digital format of it, and it's for me, myself, and I. I cannot believe you guys actually want to watch any of this, but it's all for me. And then the second thing is really want to highlight women in motorcycling a little bit more. Yes, there is definitely plenty of women in motorcycling, but I think we are much more vast than sometimes you get to see. And I don't have really any preferences on 2 wheels or 3 wheels, sport bikes, cruisers, adventure bikes, ones that prefer to ride 2 up. I don't really have any preference in that. And I just want to show us, I guess, a little bit more of our diversity. So hopefully in some of my rides, you'll be able to see some of that. I'm trying to still get out there in that realm. Since I know so many people, I just am not in that point where I want to, or I've not been able to capture enough of it just yet. So the goal this year will be to share more of that and women in what we do, because this is still a man's game. Unfortunately, we're not really. I mean, I've had at least so many positive male influences in this. I cannot believe how wonderful that's been, because that's not something that I expected. I do expect my women to be empowered and empower other women, but I never expect it from men necessarily. And I've actually had a lot more male influences that have been really positive, but I want to get more women out there and know that they can do it. So hopefully this next year will showcase more of that.
Yeah, I mean, I treat all the women like I do the men.
Yes.
I grew up, I remember seeing in Mississippi a pack of women just blazing down the interstate, and they were local. You'd always see them.
Mhm.
There was a good 20 of them at
That's
least.
awesome.
And, you know, when I got into the military, started doing sport bike thing, there's females riding that. So, I mean, just because, you know, a person can, and this is male or female, just because you can throw your leg over a bike, ride in a straight line and lean it in the turn here and there, you got to have more to impress me. And you have kind of feel like every slot that I look for what I consider a badass. And we've already gone over your wrenching. Look at you blushing. I'm making you blush. How great am I? You can ride. And one thing you can tell in your videos is you can hold a track.
I guess so. I've been doing this a while.
I mean, have you ever really looked and been like, hey, I can hold a track? Or do you even pay attention to it?
I don't think I pay attention that way. I'm a really safe rider naturally. Maybe it's too much mama bear in me or something, but I don't think I pay attention to it, which is interesting that you say that, because actually that's one of my another goals this year, but we'll get into that at some point. Maybe we'll see. But I do really like riding safely, I guess. And I don't know. I don't know.
Sounds like you might have to escort me around so I don't do stupid shit in Florida.
I mean, listen, stupid shit has to happen from time to time. I just don't do stupid shit in a group setting because,
Well, once I get in my group, it's
that's the other reason why I struggled so much when I first started riding is men scared me. Y'all crazy. I have to be if you hurt yourself, I got to help you and fix you. I don't want to be there like that.
If I'm still breathing, just go on. So Busted Knuckles says you're at 108 right now.
What? Oh my God, you guys are
Yes. Oh, nope. New update. He says you're at 110.
Oh my goodness, you guys. Like, I don't even know what to say to that. Also, I'm sorry. That's all I got.
No, there ain't no
Might not wanna listen
apologizing,
to
woman,
this.
because I love your content. You crack me up. You're really good with the camera, and with, you know, you ride, you hold tracks real tight. Because I've seen your videos. You hold a track really tight.
Yeah.
So I know you can ride in a group just
Yeah.
because of that.
Yeah. I mean, I like to lead though.
Long distance. Well, that's
Yeah.
fine. I don't know where I'm going anyway.
I might not.
As
lead
Kel's
it,
on
but
two wheels, if you tell me to turn right, I'm not going to turn right. So you just better lead the way. Yeah, I mean, you do long distance.
Yes.
Like, I've seen like mad long distance. You rode all the way to Sturgis.
Oh, I mean, I went past Sturgis. Sturgis was the first stop.
So where did you all go from there? Because I just seen tidbits on
Yeah.
Instagram, so there's like no timeline for me to actually
Okay.
catch that.
So eventually I'll do a video for that. But I realized when I took my GoPro off after I got back from, it was a 19-day trip. I did 10,000 miles. Yeah, I realized when I got back, I had like 4 hours of video clips, and this was also before I really knew what I was doing. So this is, I will eventually put that together in a video, and I've started, but like the first like couple days is already like 30 minutes long. And I really don't know where that level is just yet on keeping anyone's attention, because my adult ADHD is real strong. So my attention span is very small. So I'm still working on that. But that trip, as I said, it was 10,000 miles. And what I did is I rode up to Sturgis in 2 days. So Orlando to Sturgis in 2 days, which is long and fast, but whatever. It's like 2,000 miles. It's not that bad. But so I went to Sturgis first, but the point was actually to hit up a bunch of other things. So I kind of did a figure 8 in the United States, and then went back south, and then went through like California, and then up the Oregon coast, and then to Washington. And then I stayed at, I did a women's motorcycle camp out in Washington State called the Dream Roll, which was super cool. I can't wait to go back to that area. It's so pretty. And then I kind of looped myself back around, and then I went down to like Utah, Moab, Texas, Oklahoma, and then went back up to Arkansas for another motorcycle meetup. Because, you know, I like my women's motorcycle meetups. Like, as a female traveler that's generally solo, I do find a little bit more, I don't know, comfort, not necessarily safety, but comfort with other women that are understanding what I'm doing and why I'm doing. And then I don't have somebody being like, that bike's too big for you, because the women don't say that shit. But sorry.
Oh no, you just made it remind me, because you know how they always say Sportsters are girls' bikes.
It took me 18 years before I started actually first rode a motorcycle to when I finally bought my first Sportster. So like, and they're not. And it's funny because my Sportster is my least favorite bike. I really don't love it. I don't know why they tell Sportsters for girls. I do so much better with a bottom heavy bike. Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, that's what I say. I piss a lot of the bagger guys off when I say, well, that means road glides, street glides, ultras, every soft tail, every Harley-Davidson's a girl's bike, because girls are riding every single one of them. As long as one's on one, it's a girl's bike.
Well, I remember when I was young, my dad had one of his like bar hopping biker buddy chicks that was smaller than me. Like, she was maybe like 85 pounds, soaking wet, like barely 5 foot tall. And she rode a bagger. I couldn't tell you at that time what it was, because I was too young to really understand the difference of bikes. But there was a big bike. It was bigger than what my dad was riding. And my dad's a big dude. So it was always so weird to see her and her little tiny self. And that kind of was like, you know what? If she can do it, I think literally anybody can. And I still stand by that. Like, I don't really look at a bike and be like, well, with the exception of some of these adventure bikes being so tall, like I feel like I'm getting on a horse and then I can't even touch the ground. So that's another story. But I don't know, like big bikes, I do so much better with. And I think most women, if you hop on one, you'd find yourselves doing better with it too, because they're so much easier to handle. I don't love my sporty.
Yeah, I had a Sportster, got the breakout. I love the breakout. I have that old school mentality of, you know, windshields and radios blow on cars. So I can't fight it to get a windshield put on it, or.
Oh, but it's so nice to have a windshield. Oof.
For me, I test rode, street glide and road glide. I had a
Yeah.
lot of buffering.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I go higher with the window, I mean, it just. I know why the dog hangs his head out the window.
I say that shit all the time. It's the
I
truth,
mean,
though.
yeah.
There is something about it. But this is why I also have different bikes that some of them have that, some of them don't.
Yeah.
So choices.
Yeah, you gotta have options.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like shoes.
Yeah, totally.
You gotta have options.
I prefer my motorcycle options than shoes.
Busted Knuckle wants to know what year you was in Sturgis.
This year. This was the first year I'd been in Sturgis, and I actually spent 3 days up there. That was the first 4 days, 4.5, 5 days of my trip was 2 days up there, and then I spent 3 nights in Sturgis. And mind you, now I didn't partake in Sturgis. I'm just not a party girl. I don't really drink that much, especially by myself. I'm definitely not going to go to the bars at 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
It just wasn't. So while I was in Sturgis, during Sturgis as a rally, I was actually at Sturgis's Main Street at 8 a.m. both days because I wanted to go out riding early before everybody got up. So while I was in Sturgis, I really don't know if I can say that I was in Sturgis because I went there, I bought my dad a t-shirt, and then I left. Rode all day. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm really hesitant on that. I'm gonna apologize for the way this is worded. Kelpfire wants to know, what is your dream bike, or is Busted Knuckles motorcycle? Or Moto Noggin would ask, what is the bike you would take it up the butt for?
Oh my God, you guys.
Kelpfire's a girl, so
I love it, but my goodness. So I don't know if I have one dream bike. That's part of my problem. I really like them all. I like so many ones, and that's why I have the ones that I do, is I like them for different purposes. I think right now, if I just had unlimited money just for a little bit and bought one bike, I really, really like that Indian Pursuit. It has gotten so many fun bells and whistles on it that my newest bike is a 2011, and the only reason it has a nice GPS and radio in it is because I put it in there. I put a double din in it, and it normally comes with a single. But that Pursuit comes with so many fun things that I would really, really love. And it would look better in purple than all the stock colors that it has anyway. But then I really would love an adventure bike. Now, the funny thing is the adventure bike that I would want, I'm too short for, but I like it. I really like that BMW.
I knew it.
I love it.
I knew you was going to say BMW.
But I also don't want a BMW because it's so expensive to fix some of the things. And a lot of the parts that I would want are so expensive. And bottom line, I'm just a frugal person. This is one of the reasons I think I like motorcycle camping so well, is it's cheap. And I also get to be alone. So that's kind of nice. But it's an inexpensive way to travel. And same thing with motorcycling. My miles per gallon are great. So I can go a lot of places with very little funds. But I think my dream bikes are both very much out of the question because one's way more expensive than I think I could ever afford. And then the other one, I'm just too short for. I would like the Pan American. I'm not against the idea of one, but same thing, out of the budget. I'll probably buy a KLR or something along those lines that's closer for this Alaska trip that I want to do.
Me personally, I just get a dirt bike.
Just dirt bike.
For me, I wouldn't even look at an adventure bike because I would be dedicated strictly to the dirt, which I rode a lot of dirt. So
see, and I want both.
I don't think it would handle what I would put it through.
Really?
I would beat the hell out of it. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. See, and I don't know if I'm ever wild enough to really do that because I don't want to drop my bike and I don't want it to get scratched up. Now they do because you travel and do a bunch of things and everything anyway. But I'm so paranoid to drop my bike or something, which I haven't really done that. I did once, but that was terrible. But
is that the picture of the scrapes on the bag, or did the bag fall off on you?
Oh no, the Road Glide bags. Okay, so no, that was after I met up with my friend Stacy at the end of that long cross country trip. She met me in Moyers, Oklahoma at that K River campground. And we were going to go to the Moto Mama rendezvous in Arkansas. So I kind of got us lost a little bit because my GPS and my phone were not behaving. And so I was in this weird back road, and I think we were in Arkansas already. We might still have been in Oklahoma. I think we were in Oklahoma actually still. But I was traveling down this weird back road and the semi was behind me and I was already going like 10 miles an hour, 20 miles an hour over the speed limit. I don't even know. But I hit the edge of a bridge. Now, like not a bridge that goes over, but like a bridge that barely goes over a creek kind of thing. And it just had enough of a lip that it popped, I guess, my back end up just enough. And that saddlebag flew off going 70 miles an hour the other direction. Thankfully didn't hit Stacy. So I emergency stopped still on the bridge. This is a fun story actually. And I tell it and it's like, you can't even make this shit up. But emergency stopped at the bridge. Thank God Stacy's a really good rider too. And she stopped right behind me. But there was a semi still behind us. And I hopped off my bike as fast as I could because it slid down that center line. And I'm running full force to go get my saddlebag out of the middle of the road. And like, this is at the semi, who's also emergency stopping because there's some crazy biker chick running at him full force. And I scoop up my saddlebag. Now this is the saddlebag that carries my cooler. So it's leaking all over me and I'm soaking wet. So I waddle to the side of the road with my saddlebag in my hands, freaking out. And I set it on the side and then this truck shows up right next to us. So the semi passed us. Apparently there was a Corvette or something coming the other direction. I didn't see it because I was running towards the semi, not away from the Corvette. But this truck pulls up and this guy hops out and he's like, get off my bridge. And I was like, first of all, we're fine. And Stacy goes and talks to him and like, but he's still yelling at us to get off his bridge. And lo and behold, we stopped on a bridge in front of the state prison. So they were worried these biker chicks were running across the bridge dropping drugs. So just so you know, that was a very big ordeal that all my saddlebag did was pop off, slide down, but it was like the scariest like 10 minutes of my life.
Yeah, that sounds like a bad place for that to happen.
So I didn't drop my bike on that, but it sure as hell looks like I did.
Well, I've seen the pictures and because you also had the quick mounts in there.
Yes.
Picture of them snapped and I'm like, ooh, wonder what happened there.
Yeah. No, it just popped up and flew the other direction and tried to hit Stacy and then run into a semi and it didn't do either of those things. And there was no drugs, of course, in my saddlebag, just ice water and all of it over me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, shit happens. Yeah, I mean, I just recently got saddlebags for mine.
Oh, I love saddlebags.
Hopefully they don't fall off.
Yeah. I mean, the quick release things are so nice because the amount of times that I have to take them off, but not anymore. That was one experience too many of that.
Yeah. So any other bad things like that? Like, cause you got a lot of miles under your belt.
So it's funny because I don't know if I'm just very, very blessed and lucky that this is like, I don't really have too many crazy things that have ever happened to me. But it does go back to, I'm kind of an overly cautious and safe rider for the most part. I really don't think I've had too many crazy experiences, but I mean, I think I've had to have people help me back up once or twice. That's as wild as my life gets. But
so, okay. You do pretty well. You don't have any major accidents.
No, nothing so
far. That was just like we'll throw that one up as like a glitch in the matrix.
Yeah.
So, yeah, HD Traveler, you know, he says the saddlebag bolts fix that problem.
I got them. Don't worry. We're good now. It's not going to happen again.
So, when you decide, you know, it's time to leave Florida.
Okay.
How do you prepare mentally for that? What's going through your head?
So I'm normally a super planner and I plan everything, like all the major roads that I plan on taking and all the stops that I want to. And then I freak out very much the day or two before. And then I'm like, I'm not going to go. And then I go. That's how that works.
Do you plan out your gas stops too?
So kinda. There's certain things that I do plan out. Like now, Stacy has been lucky enough to ride with me a couple of times out of state. I really love that I actually have a woman that will keep up with me and like to ride tank to tank, dusk till dawn, or dawn to dusk. And it's been great. So I actually have certain stops in the South that I take a lot. So I will always stop at like the Buc-ee's on my way out. There's multiple Buc-ee's.
Yep. I'll probably hit them.
Yeah. Like, so I actually have like a lot of my stops from pretty much here to, I guess, Tennessee. and some of North Carolina that are already set stops because I already stopped at them every time I leave the state. So some of that is super planned because I know like the Buc-ee's in like Macon is exit 144, like that kind of stuff, because I know I've been there so many times. So some of those are super planned. But outside of the state, it just depends. It depends on the ride it is and how far away from I am from certain things. Because like, especially the cross country trip, I wanted to make sure that I knew where I was staying every night, but then have a reasonable idea of like, this will be the first opportunities for the things that I want to do. And this is plan B and plan C. Plan A almost always had reasonable ideas of where the gas stops are. But if I went to route plan B or C, oh yeah, that was a shit show. Who knows? Which I did have in, I think it was Oregon. My phone stopped working the entire state. So I kind of had to wing it anyway. I kind of just, that was fun. Because I don't know anything about rural Oregon for sure, but I knew what city I was heading towards that night, and I knew a couple of the other major cities. So I kind of just wandered my way through the state. So I didn't know where I was even. And there was a point where so my gas tank will hold like roughly 250 miles till empty, right? So I told myself on this trip, I was going to always fill up at about 100 miles to empty because sometimes some of these gas stops are going to be further between. And that was one of those states that I was like, I'm like 5 miles to empty. I better see something soon. There's nothing out here. Yeah. Thankfully, it worked out because I don't carry extra gas with me as all the others that I carry. I don't carry extra gas.
I'm with you. I don't either.
Yeah. I mean, I am a chronic overpacker. If you ever see my pack loaded, it looks like I'm bringing everything in the kitchen sink, which I kind of do. You got to be prepared. You never know what you need. So it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I was just curious because there are a lot of people that do like long distances that have like different things they do, like what Mr. HD Lowrider says here. I know several people that carry a paper map with them.
So kinda. Some of my shorter trips, I'll bring like a regular road atlas, but the like cross country one where I was very limited in certain space, I actually printed out a lot of things. So I had like paper printed out of it, like totally MapQuest style, I guess. That seems so silly. So that's kind of how I knew where I was kind of at in Oregon, but it was still like a pretty zoomed out map. I didn't have those cute little tiny county roads that I kept finding myself on. And, you know, sometimes they're not straight. In Florida, a lot of things are straight because we're very grid here, not other states. So I kind of have paper maps, but I also kind of don't. I do think, though, from now on, I will make the room for a full atlas type map again. But that was a very, like, I'm packing up my entire being for, you know, almost 3 weeks. So
do you
live and learn.
Do you take like extra cord oil and tools with you?
So I always ride with tools. My saddlebag always has like a whole roll, a tool roll that I really like, and like a jumper box, and you know, some of the basics. But oil stuff, because I do like it's easy enough to pick up like stuff from like a Harley or whatever. If I don't have a great option, Harley's just an easy one. They have all the basic stuff there. And then to do field oil changes, the Dollar Tree. Listen, like those paint roller bucket thingies, those are great oil pans. Like there's a lot of things you can make out of Dollar Tree stuff. So yeah.
Well, I think you just got I'm gonna give you some ideas that you should make that a YouTube video. The Dollar Tree oil change. No,
actually,
seriously.
that's not a bad idea.
Seriously. I mean, my most viewed video right now is how to roll a bedroll. So don't count that out.
Okay. All right.
And another one would probably be a good video for the ladies would be, you know, you packing out for a long trip.
Yeah. I thought about doing that and I attempted. So this sounds terrible. There's actually a lot of attempts of trying to put a cohesive video together, but then like the brain doesn't like follow through with it very well. Cause I tried actually doing a pack out type video for the cross country trip. And it just, I don't make sense sometimes when I speak. and there was no saving the attempt of that video because it was so, I don't know, it was all over the place. So I do think the next trip, probably that Tennessee one in May, I'll attempt it again to have a real.
So you're going to come up probably what, 75 and hit 40?
Probably. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, you'll be passing me. So
Oh, okay. Then maybe I'll figure it out.
I guess you let me know and I might roll out that way with you.
Yeah, let me know. Because I mean, I will be actually having a couple of friends ride with me that one because I'm getting better at not doing just solo trips. I'm so proud of myself. But this might be kind of fun. We'll try to see if we can make something happen.
Yeah, because I can get old Papa DDK. He might want to go check it out. And Ray's Moto Life, he's over in Crossville area. So
yeah,
he might want to go and check it out too.
Cool.
Because I was actually in Myrtle Beach last time.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was actually coming back to Tennessee when that was going on.
See, and I think
if I remember right,
it was around the same weekend that I think that was the She Rides moto that I did in May, and I chose She Rides over the music motorcycle. I don't remember what order those words are in for this thing, but it's the Loretta Lynn thing.
Look, DDK's in. Yeah, Ray's in. He says he'll be there.
See, it's going to be a good time.
Oh, yeah, it'll be fun. I kind of relatively know where it is.
Yeah.
I have to, I'll probably have to use my GPS once I get past Nashville. But
It's
from here
always
to
good to have a
Nashville's easy.
GPS. Yeah, it's nice to have one. I ride with a GPS and like a radar at all times just because you never know when the weather is going to go weird. So it's good to have it all.
Oh, I thought you meant a radar detector. I was going to say,
No.
Well.
No, I'm worried about weather. Okay.
2 Journey Junkies. They're in between me and Nashville, so they'll be going too. So maybe we'll try to make like a big group meetup or something to roll out there deep. Process. What's her feelings on being an influencer to female riders and riders in general? And I'm actually gonna say, because it for me, I know some people will say I'm a dick for saying this, but women and men, I treat them the same way. You got to really impress me. And I would love, my daughter would be like, hey, Dad, check this lady out. She's cool as shit. I want to be like her. I'll be like, hell yeah. So what's your feelings on being that way to not only female riders, but male riders wanting to start or teenage girls that's wanting to get into motorcycles?
I don't really know how to answer that. Like, I actually feel very out of place for that, but I feel like I've always been like the biggest cheerleader for people. Like, I really want to see people happy and doing the things that they want to do. I still struggle with why anybody wants to watch me do any of this. It still seems very disconnected for me. So I feel uncomfortable for actually, that's how I feel of being of any type of influence. But I like that I'm trying to feel comfortable with being put in the position that I might be an influence to people, if that makes sense. I'm actually, one of the next goals this next year, which we'll see how I can make it happen, but I'd like to even become a rider coach. I've helped so many people get on 2 wheels or help them maybe buy a bike or just, be their cheerleader from afar, whatever that takes. I mean, if you watch some of the videos, like I've helped my friend Angie, like go from almost no riding on her bike to now like 500 miles on her bike in like a month. There's something that I really do love about seeing people grow, and that comes in different formats. So if I'm influencing it in a positive way, I'm happy about it, but I feel really uncomfortable being in the spotlight about it too. So I don't know if that answers the question, but there's words.
No, I get it. You probably feel more nervous, just because the spotlight's on you.
Yeah, that's not my comfort zone. I'm an observer by nature. Like that's where I feel comfortable. I am very much a fly on the wall. Like I was at an event like 2 weeks ago, I think. And the person that runs the event, like he's followed me on social media before and stuff. I have purple hair and a bright purple bike. Like I'm not unnoticeable, but even at an event with maybe 50 people at, he didn't notice me there because I'm like that. I sit back. I'm definitely much more of an observer than I will ever be the one in the middle partying it up. So it's just a different mindset that I have to kind of remember that I am in a position that people notice me differently, but it's weird still.
I mean, it's weird for me to walk in the crowd holding a camera.
Yeah. Oh,
Like, you know, it's
no
still, I'm
idea.
not good at that, but I'm getting better at it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely a different mindset. And I still like most of the photos that I take, they're all from me and myself that I found a quiet corner somewhere. Like I can't even allow other people to take my photo yet. Like I'm not there. Those are all like taken by me, really. Like I don't know. It's different, especially in public. And that's why we went to, what is it? That St. Pete Bike Fest. Now this was at like noon on like a Friday. So nobody was actually there. And I still have one little video clip of one of the tents and then like a little video clip of inside the Harley-Davidson that was there. And that's as far as I could bring my camera out because that's all I was comfortable with. And it's like 35 seconds. I was like, okay, well, I guess we're skipping that. I'm not showing you anything.
Yeah, no, I get it. I absolutely get it. You'll get better at it. You'll get more comfortable.
We'll see. I hope so.
I did see another question. Bri, the biker, wants to know, do you have any direction you want to take your channel?
So this sounds terrible, but I really don't know direction just yet. I do know that I want to focus a lot more on the women riding and then just my basic life because I do live this. But actually, YouTube's super new to me. I know that sounds silly because YouTube's been around for quite a while, and I definitely use it for like how-to videos. But honestly, I've watched only one full like moto vlog before, and that's it. Like I've never watched any of it. I don't have the attention span to watch anything. So it's terrible, I know. And so I'm actually going into this completely naive and completely blind. So I really don't know where I can go with this because I actually don't even know where anybody else goes with this. So my direction and like my thought processes are probably as, I don't know, as ignorant as they can be. Like I really just want to share with, my life. And then this is what I do in motorcycling. And then this is what the women I know do in motorcycling too. So I don't know if that even answers that question because I don't really know what I can do.
Well, we've had this conversation before.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're doing awesome. I think you're freaking killing it. And if you're not watching anybody else's videos, don't go watch them. Keep doing you. Your Instagram creativity is showing in your YouTube. So just keep doing you and just keep putting it out there.
Okay, good.
I think you're killing it. I mean, am I wrong, people? Yes or no in the comments. See who's paying attention.
They're all going to be
right
like,
now.
yeah, she's terrible. Unsubscribe.
No, they're probably telling me to shut up. They want to hear you more.
Oh, God.
Busted says, do they have something in October as well? I think he might be talking about something else.
Yeah, I was to say, I mean, Florida October, we have plenty of things because Biketober is probably the biggest, but
I'm glad on Tuesdays you can watch most of his because they're less than 10 minutes.
Which, see, it's funny because I don't even know like what's the normal time frame that most people make these videos. Because I made one that was like 3 minutes, and then I made the one that was like 23 minutes. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing.
23 minutes, it does keep an attention span to watch that whole video.
I barely had the one for the 3 minutes, so.
Well, I mean, cut the average.
Yeah.
Run about a 10, 12 minute video. I think
That's
you'll be
my
fine
thought.
with that.
Yeah. We'll see.
Because I know at a certain time they, like with live streams, once you go over an hour 25 minutes, they stop pushing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like you're
See,
done.
that's the other thing is I'm learning now. This is terrible, but for like Instagram, I've never really paid too much attention to like the algorithm that everybody talks about. I just make whatever the hell I want to make. But YouTube, like there's an algorithm and stuff there too, and I'm like, I don't really want to learn any of that. I just want to.
I don't know crap about the algorithm.
I'm
just doing it for fun.
Yeah, it's got the analytics, and I was like, I looked at it, and I was like, never mind. I'm just gonna pretend like this doesn't exist.
It looks like spaghetti noodles to
Yeah.
me, so I don't really pay it much mind. uh, let's see. Doc Harley says you're more than welcome to watch his how-tos.
Okay.
Apparently, he does a lot of how-to videos.
I feel like I've probably watched how-to videos. I do watch because I am not trained to do anything on my motorcycle. And I need the professionals sometimes. Like I only kind of know how to do things. This is why I make up words for stuff all the time. But yeah, I do like how-to videos, but I'm a learner by nature.
Well, I recently found Doc Harley. We kind of bumped into each other, and I hadn't got to sit down and watch all his stuff yet.
Yeah.
But it's on the agenda. But for
Yeah.
you, I have made that suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
Do a video while you work on your bike.
Yeah. See, I think like I've tried to take some. I actually have a camera full of videos of me working, especially in the Fat Boy, because the Fat Boy was such an adventure.
Mm-hmm.
I just think I can't make a cohesive video on that. And then like I definitely can only barely explain what I'm doing. That's where I'm struggling still.
Well, that's why I suggested you just kind of go like, yeah, I'm working on this. I got to change the clutch.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
you can just
leave
watch
it at
the
that,
video.
but talk about other crap,
Yeah. I don't know. We're going to get to it. I just think it's one of the, like, there's just so many options. I think that's the thing with the direction of the channel idea is like, there's just so many things. Like I do work on my bikes, but I also go to an event every other weekend. And also I ride too freaking much. So it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're going to kill it. I think you belong in the upper echelon of the YouTube creators. I love your content. It's freaking awesome. Middle Tennessee Concrete says you're at 103 or 113.
Oh my goodness. Where are all these people coming from? This is so awesome.
Hey, I told you I was going to do everything I could help you to get you up there. I honestly believe you should be up there. You are a role model for a lot of people, and badass as hell. Can ride like nobody's business. How many miles do you throw down a year? That's the big question.
Well, okay, but every year is different. And also for a long time, I didn't really even pay attention to miles. And then like my Sportster doesn't even have a working odometer. So this year though, I'm definitely surpassing 25,000 miles, but last year was only like 15. So, but then again, I had a 10,000 mile trip this year too. So
yeah,
somewhere between those. I know the year that I finally do make it to Alaska, that's at minimum 12,000 miles. But I also think I kind of want to go down to Key West first. So we're going to add a little bit more. So I don't know.
You see that comment?
I'm sorry for being awkward.
You're not awkward. You fit in perfectly fine. So I was going to bring this up, and I guess I'll bring it up now. That guy wants to know more about your Fat Boy.
Oh, man, I love my Fat Boy.
Wasn't there a little incident with the Fat Boy that wasn't none of your fault?
Yes. Yeah, so that wasn't, well, I guess it was my fault because I put her on a renting site. So I love this Fat Boy. I've had it for a while. It's the first bike that I took out of state. But that's, before I bought the Road Glide, that I rode the Fat Boy everywhere. So I was never, I'm more of a collector than somebody that has a bike and then sells it to get another one. I just like to collect them. Because obviously I've regretted selling previous ones anyway. So we're just going to add to the collection. So I kept the Fat Boy, and then I told myself, okay, so I still ride it from time to time, but she lives in the garage a lot now. I don't put on that many miles. So to fund my cross-country trips and some of the other crazy things I want to do, let me put her on something like Twisted Road or Riders Share. I live in a city that a lot of people like to fly in, come into, and ride at, so take advantage of that. So I put her on Riders Share. I was super, super excited. I got my first rental. It was a chick even. And she crashed it 5 miles from my house. Less than 5 miles from my house. So first rental, immediately out. And now the situation, like she was just riding like too cocky, I think. I mean, she rear-ended her parents' car she was following.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like there's somebody that you turned in front of her parents' car. Her parents' car stopped. She stopped. And then I think she saw their brake lights disengage. And then she rear-ended them full force. So yeah, so there was a little bit of damage to the front end, meaning pretty much the whole front end. My front fender was ripped, the bolts were ripped out of it, and so the whole front end had to be pretty much replaced. I needed to do new forks, new lowers, the new fender, and since I needed to either repaint that fender and have Dan color match it, or decide to finally just make it what I wanted to make her, I decided to go ahead and put purple flames on it. Now I'm highly doubting it will be as rentably desired, but she's now cool as hell looking. So I put her back together, but thankfully RiderShare, the way that they do insurance and stuff, it wasn't too crazy out of pocket or anything. So it wasn't super inconvenient for me, except now I have a bike that's been in a crash that she'd never been in before.
Yeah.
But you know, she looks really cute now. So I almost took her to Ace tonight, but then I had this. So
Yeah, well, Hell's on Two Wheels is at Ace, or at least he was. I think he still is.
Yeah.
He's a big supporter.
Yeah.
Love the dude to death. He's done
awesome.
nothing but help me, and he's not too far from you, and you'll get to meet him when I get down.
Yeah.
If not before, because I'm sure y'all probably bump into each other at some point.
I was gonna say I try to be at Ace at least once a month. It's just like 10 minutes down the street from me anyway, so why not?
Oh, yeah, he's still there.
Oh, good. Okay.
And gliding on twos, I think he's back home right now in South Carolina, but he'll be back down that way after the holidays for his school.
Awesome.
So I got people running around there I'm tight with. Love to death. They're awesome people. You might actually get to meet them before I get down there.
I was to say, it sounds like it. I mean,
don't listen to their stories. They're full of shit.
I mean, there's always with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after, I'm trying to figure out how I want to end this show right now, because I kind of just threw my whole, scripting right out the window. I think what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to let you do your final thoughts, and then I think I'm going to run my sponsor just for the hell of it, and then in the show. So I'm going to give you the stage.
Oh, God.
Say whatever you like to all of us, or just me, because you can only see me. So.
I really only want to say thank you to you, because you've kind of pushed me a little bit out of my comfort zone. Because you were actually the first person that had asked me to do one of these, and I kind of felt bad that I agreed to another one before this. But you've made me feel very comfortable on here and out of my comfort zone and not freaking out. I actually was in the position to be like, if I just have to close it, I'll just close it, and I didn't feel that way. So
yeah, hey, it is no big deal. I kind of peeked over at that, and I don't see how you was able to talk in it, but that's them guys do their own style and
everybody
everything.
Does their thing.
Yeah, and I'm more of a one-on-one. So I'm just proud of where you're going and where you're heading, because I really believe that you belong in the upper echelon of YouTube, and I know you'll get there. I know probably by the end of January you're gonna surpass me. I already know
that. You're very sweet though. Like, I really
I'm going ahead and calling it now.
You're very positive, and I appreciate that. You're one of the people that has definitely encouraged me, and like authentically, I think too. So I appreciate it.
Well, I mean, when I see somebody that really, is it and has it, it needs to be showed. So right now, Busted Knuckles says you're at 114.
Oh my God, that's crazy. Well, the good news is, like, I have another video I've been kind of working on, so maybe you'll even get to listen to more crap that I say soon.
Well, as soon as it comes out, I'll share it on my page.
Okay.
That way, because I know I have some people that's overseas right now that's probably sleeping. They'll probably watch it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well,
cool.
Several hours for them, but they'll end up being on there too. I'm sure of it. So
yeah, I
think what I'm going to do now is go ahead and let everybody know that tonight's show was sponsored by the Dirty Biker dating website.
You tired of chasing chicken heads on Farmers Only? How about getting holy rolled by thieves on Mormon Mingle? Tired of not getting your pole wet on Plenty of Fish? How about tendering a hot hundo on Tinder for some butt stuff? If you're tired of all this nonsense, and you want some real dirty chrome and hot leather, check out the Dirty Biker Dating website for all your dirty motorcycle dating needs. 50% off, promo code Tweedle.
Don't forget 50% off code word Tweedle.
What a way.
You gotta love it. I was supposed to have a different one tonight, but unfortunately, I've been under the weather with like sinus congestion and crap, and he's been under the weather with the same crap, which makes no sense how both of us have the same thing and we're nowhere near the same state.
It's all going around.
I guess I caught it from him through a video chat. It's all good though. Everybody, I am going to end the show, so I want you to hang out when credits are in. I'm going to end it and all that. But I want to thank everybody for coming by and watching the show. If you haven't already, go subscribe to Indigo.moto on YouTube. Hit her up on Instagram and follow her there. Yes, Doc Harley, that is for real. Yeah, now I've lost all train of thought. So y'all have a happy new year. I'm going to end the show now, and I will see y'all on, well, it'll be the next one. Peace.